morning traders, Joseph here from Eightcap. Welcome to this week's Trade Zone Asian session update. So we're just looking at the USD in front of us now. So we capped off the week with services data coming out from the EU, which was Germany and France, and we also had the UK and USA services data. So it was a bit mixed. The USA missed. We did have some beats for the German data, which didn't have, had a little bit of impact on the markets, but it wasn't too much, as we saw markets continue mainly to move lower, and we saw the US dollar fight, gain for a second session. So far this morning, things are pretty quiet. We've seen the ASX is fighting back from, it was around 0.19% lower. At the moment it's 0.08% lower. So there is a little bit of buying around this morning on the ASX CFD. We can see some nice healthy buying, and is some short-term support. We'll stick to the daily. There is a bit of short-term support and demand, down from that 7.115 down to, you can see this level here at 7, really 71 even. So we'll continue to see how this plays out today, and if we are going to see a little bit of a reversal after a few days of, some pretty decent selling last week. So off the futures at the moment, we're seeing the US 30 is higher. Obviously the ASX we just covered. So, and we're seeing the other US indexes, stock index futures are trading higher. So the NASDAQ is 0.4% higher. The S&P and the US 30, which is the Dow, around just above that 0.30% higher. So we can see here that there is a bit of buyer demand at this stage in the morning, but we'll have to see if that can carry forward after a couple of days, several days of pretty decent selling. So this is the question really, are we seeing a break of this rally here? Are we going to see, has selling reached sort of a pinnacle yet, or has it got further to go? I think that really comes down to the next rally, and we'll see about that this week. If we do set that rally, where does that rally get to, and do we see a new higher low after that rally, or do we see a similar picture to this or this here, where we have a lot of supply indecision, and then we have further selling come about? So I think that'll be the key this week on stock indexes. What happens after we see that next rally? And we're going to keep an eye on it, because I'm quite interested in this trend at the moment, and especially from the US 30 point of view. We've seen this really beautiful move up. We've now had this, what looks like starting of a, I'm not going to say it's a correction. I'm going to say it's a leg lower, a reaction in the trend. And what we really want to know now is if we do see support come in and we do see a new rally out, or if we do see a failed rally and we do go a bit lower. So that's one of the things I'll be keeping an eye on this week. Now, oil had a pretty average finish to the week. It did see some late buying. It still looks a bit bullish there. So we want to see if we can see more buying today or throughout the week, if we can break above this point and keep this leg in act. But if we do see another push lower that ends up down here, that'll be a bit of a worry. So this still does look like a pretty decent lower high, bearish continuation, but this is what sort of threw me off a little bit when I saw it. So interesting situation going on there, and there could be another upswing there if buyers can get back into the market and start getting a bit of control back. So I'll keep an eye on that one this week as well. Now gold. So gold fought back on Friday. It's a bit of a surprise, but it did. We had a high USD, lower stocks, but definitely gold was being sought after for different reasons. It's a bit messy at the moment. We have some support at 1776.05. There's plenty, plenty of resistance for it to beat at 1810. So it's sort of just sitting mid-range at the moment. So we'll just have to see what happens if we can get another push up to test resistance, or if we're going to come back down to test that support there. So some of the other indexes we'll be keeping an eye on today. So the Nikkei, the ASX, is in the positive now. So we might see a bit of demand on the ASX. At the moment, things are mixed on the yen. We are seeing some losses, but there were some gaps lower this morning, but we are seeing a bit of fight back from there. So the Aussie sitting right at base support down there at 91.10, and some of the other majors to the end at the moment, we are seeing some buying after some gaps lower, but we are seeing some support holding around previous levels. So that 164.90 to 85 point on the pound, and the euro yen There is a little bit of demand down around this level at 143.66, but they are trying to deal with these gaps lower that they experienced, and this is a pretty decent gap lower on the euro yen, So you're talking about 89 pips this morning for that one. Now the dollar yen at this stage is trading lower and similar story with a nice big gap this morning. We have a nice range here, so we really need to see a break of this congestion to start thinking about which way the market's going to start to look to go. Now quickly onto crypto. So we had a couple of fireworks in crypto. Binance coin obviously had a really big strong move down, so Binance was hit with a few rumors. This was along the lines of FTX. I mean, how healthy is Binance's balance sheet, and how much funds do they actually have? I think the answers have been coming out pretty positive. The market looks to be shaking some of those concerns off with a couple strong days here, and including this morning. So it's up 145 at the moment, 1.45% at the moment, and we had a strong Sunday session as well. Ethereum's up 0.7%. Doesn't really look like much these days, does it, when you're looking at that? But we do see some support down around this area, and Bitcoin is pretty range bound again. It failed to really hold that move above 17 to 18,000 last week, and it is sort of just sticking around this area of demand. So there's a small key area down here at 16,700. We really don't want to see a move back down here. There is some support down around these areas, but yeah, definitely this trend is looking a little bit shaky at this point in time, and if we do see a break lower, we'll hope to see some demand come in. Now, Canando, which has been a coin I've liked, it did make a new leg lower and put in new lows for 2022. We saw a pretty nice move down, and it put in a new low of 0.2536 for the year. So definitely the bears are still in control of Canando, and we have a pretty nice textbook breakout to the downside, don't we? So Ripple, finally, we'll touch on. Ripple had a couple of days lower. It's still, pretty range bound, if you ask me, between these two areas, and there is some demand here we've seen trying to re-engage, and that's at that that's at that 0.345 area. So this area is the area we want to see defended by buyers. If we see a break lower, possibly could go back down to test some of these areas here. Now, this week, with Christmas coming this weekend, we may see some liquidity come out of the market. Things might slow down a little bit. Next week will definitely be slower, and we have a bit of news coming out this week. So we have the Bank of Japan coming out with the monetary policy statement tomorrow. We have the policy rate as well, expected to remain unchanged, and the press conference. So we don't have a release time ever with that, but it is suggested to come in between 11:30 and 6 p.m. tomorrow. Now, Wednesday is a pretty quiet day. We have Canadian retail sales coming out, and then Thursday we have Canadian CPI coming out, and they're expecting a real sharp drop. So from 0.7% to minus 0.1%. The median CPI to come in at 4.9, and the trim CPI to come at 5.3. We have US CB consumer confidence coming out at 2 a.m. on Thursday as well, and we have on Saturday, to wrap up the week, we have Canadian GDP expected at 0.1%, and we have core PCE price index expected to come in at 0.2%. So that's inflationary as well. So I think the market will pay attention to that one, and we will see how that comes in. We've had some mixed inflation data coming in, and the Fed's message was quite different as well last week. So we had CPI lower than before that, with a higher PPI. So we'll see what happens with the PCE price index on Sunday morning. So that's it for this update. We wish you a great week. All the best with your trading, and if you do see things get a little bit of liquid during the week, it can be pretty normal at this time of year, and next week can be even worse. But that doesn't mean there's not going to be moves and swings. Sometimes that week before New Year's can be quite good, and you can see some pretty good, some interesting runs. That's if you are watching the markets and not taking some time off. So again, good trading. Thank you very much for your time today. We appreciate that you've taken the time to watch this video, and we wish you all the best for this week, and have a very Merry Christmas, and we'll see you Monday next week. Thank you very much. Bye. Oh, sorry, make that Friday first, then Monday. Thanks. Bye.